Enchanté.
You're listening to the What the Fab podcast, where empowered women empower women through candid conversations, inspiring stories, and tangible tips. I'm your host, Elise Armitage. I'm a digital creator, and I left my 9-to-5 job at Google to chase my dreams of being an entrepreneur. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get into some real talk. Hey, welcome back to the What the Fab podcast. Today we're talking about 10 habits and rituals that have been keeping me sane during quarantine and this pandemic. I feel like we're all kind of at that point where we're just frickin' over it. I mean, I know it's different for every state, and our country's just kind of letting each state do whatever the F they want. And so things in California are really different than things in Florida, for example. But I think for a lot of What the Fab listeners, based on the conversations that I've been having in my DMs, we're feeling it because we're coming up on that 1 year mark of when the world just shut down. And it's kind of shocking that we have been doing that. We've been doing this for a year, staying in, not seeing our friends and family, not going to parties, not going out to dinner. God, I miss just going to a restaurant and having an amazing meal and, somebody else making me a cocktail versus me making it myself. Obviously I miss traveling. There's so much that I miss, and I know you guys do too. So I thought I would get into today a few things that have just been bringing me joy and keeping me sane during this pandemic and during quarantine. Before we get into that, I just want to give a quick shout out to a recent review on Apple Podcasts. This one is from Vanessa Monique. She says, "Must subscribe. I'm only one episode in, and I started at her most recent, but I'm already hooked. Now I'm playing catch up, listening to everything I missed. So in love with the What the Fab podcast." Woohoo! Thank you, Vanessa. You're the best. Thank you so much for leaving a review. And if you, dear sweet listener, have not left a review yet, please go ahead and do it. It takes literally 2 seconds, and it helps me out so much. That's why I annoyingly mention at the beginning and the end of every single episode to do it. So if you could please do it, I would love you for it. And again, it just keeps me motivated and excited to continue creating these episodes for you. So let's just dive right in. Here are 10 things that have been keeping me sane during this panny. I sat down and just kind of journaled about it, and I was like, what are the things that have made a difference for me, that have been bringing me joy, or just straight up making my life a little bit less miserable than if I didn't do them during quarantine? So the first one is doing some kind of date night in with Omid and just breaking up the routine and the monotony of having dinner, watching Netflix, maybe having a glass of wine. We got into such a monotonous routine of doing this every single night for just days on end that I literally would look up some nights and be like, I can't remember if I took my CBD. I take Equilibria, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I take a soft gel in the evenings, and I usually take it right after dinner. And the nights were just starting to blur together because every single night was the same. And I would be like, I cannot remember. I remember putting the soft gel in my mouth, but I don't remember if that was tonight or last night or the night before. I don't know. And I had this weird Twilight Zone moment where I was like, okay, we need to shake things up a bit. So I'd love to hear from you guys too, what you've been doing for date night in situations during quarantine. But some things that we've been having fun with are just playing a card game, a board game. We just started doing a puzzle, which is hilarious because we thought we could do the 1,000-piece puzzle, and I am so impatient that it's actually kind of frustrating me. But it's been fun to have a glass of wine and sit down and play a game or do a puzzle. And we end up just chatting about other things that we wouldn't have if we had just turned on Netflix. And don't get me wrong, Schitt's Creek, we've been so into it, and just relaxing and watching Netflix absolutely has its place, very necessary, but not every single night, because the monotony is just, it was driving me nuts. And it's still, life is still very monotonous. It's not going to magically make you feel like you're on a tropical vacation, but it absolutely has made a difference for us. We have also found a few other just fun things to do that are pandemic safe date nights. One of them is in Napa. They opened during the pandemic a drive-in movie situation. So you just stay in your car. That's fun. We also did a sushi night. So Omid found a local seafood place that was selling these like sushi kits. So you got slices of sashimi, you got sushi rice, you got the nori and ginger and all that stuff. And we learned how to roll hand rolls and, mixed and matched the different like garnishes that you could put in, the different fish. And it was so fun. Obviously there's lots of like cooking class options online. So come up with some fun date night things, like pick one at least once a week and set a date. It's nice to have something to look forward to. And it kind of just helps break up the monotony. And, if you're single, if you're living alone during this pandemic, you can still set a date for yourself to do something fun, go out and do something pandemic safe, do something with friends virtually. Like just having that on your calendar gives you something to look forward to. And it also has helped me be like, okay, date night is happening Friday night. Today is Thursday. Like just, because you look up sometimes and you're like, what day is it? I literally have no idea. So that's been something that we've been really enjoying. Number 2 is really making an effort to have outdoor time. So this has been a lot easier now that we are in our new house. When we were in San Francisco, it was definitely harder, but I was still doing it, and it made a really big difference. So I try to have lunch outside. Sometimes I will do my morning journaling outside. I have started just like taking 15-minute walks. If you listened to episode 13, I believe it was, with Sarah Jane Case, where we talk about the Enneagram. One of the things that she mentioned was for type 3s like me, one of her best pieces of advice for living a little bit more in the moment and appreciating the moment instead of constantly focusing on the next goal that you're striving for was to detach and to take walks. And we were laughing because she was saying like, yeah, a lot of type 3s get annoyed with me for telling them to do this, but it's really good for you. And leaving your phone at home helps you detach and just kind of reconnect with yourself. So I've been trying to do that more, and it has been really nice. I saw a really funny meme the other day. I will include it in the show notes, but it's a picture of this bald eagle that looked really pissed off and grumpy, and it's like taking a step forward. And the caption said, me going out on a stupid little walk just to feel something during this pandemic. And I was like, oh my God, me. I'm trying to just get outside, go on a walk just to feel something, just to get a little bit of a change of scenery, but it does help. When we were in our old apartment in San Francisco, like I said, it was a little bit harder, but I did get pretty creative. So in the mornings, I would start my day with doing my journaling and my to-dos outside. I didn't necessarily have like anywhere to sit, so I just sat on some neighbors' steps, and that was lovely. And then the other thing that we did was for our workouts, we had been doing them inside in our 1-bedroom apartment. And then I was like, okay, we need to change things up. So I bought a 50-foot long Ethernet cable and strung it down our apartment building's hallway and out to the garage. And the garage was like this open air situation. And that way I was able to plug my laptop in, have internet from the Ethernet cable, and we could do our HIIT workouts with our trainer outside. And it was just so nice to be able to get out of the apartment for an hour, like get a change of scenery, breathe some fresh air. And so, you can get creative with how you get your outdoor time in. Number 3 has been meditating. If you don't meditate, you probably are rolling your eyes right now because you're like, yeah, I've heard that meditation is a thing and it's good. But truly it is, meditation and breath work, it's like most people are going to say it's like the number one thing that you can do, that and exercise, for stress and anxiety without going the route of prescriptions. And I've been meditating off and on for years. I got pretty good at it when I was at Google and doing it pretty consistently. And then when I started working for myself, I was doing it a little bit less. I think I was still stressed. I'm not going to say I was less stressed. I was just, the stress was different. It was more kind of like the weight and the pressure of running my own business and like trying to do it all. But I've definitely been more consistent with it especially during this pandemic. And it helps. It helps every single time, even when I'm super busy and I really don't want to sit down and meditate. That's when I'm like, okay, this is when I need it the most. And I always feel better afterwards. It just like sometimes when I am doing so many things, like my heart rate is racing, my mind's racing, and just having, sometimes I only do it for 10 minutes, sometimes 15, sometimes 20. And just 10 minutes makes a difference. Omid recently he's reading this book that's super interesting, and it's all about like the human mind and stress and memory. And one thing that he was reading to me was about how your brain, when you are feeling stressed and anxious, you're basically creating these neural pathways that just like deepen and make it easier for you to access that feeling of stress and anxiety. So it's kind of like this vicious cycle. Like the more you stress, the more easy it is for your brain to feel that stress, and it just keeps going and going. So like, how do you pull yourself out of that feeling? And so when he read me that, I was like, okay, I am definitely going to get back on my meditation game. Number 4 is our HIIT workouts. So I have mentioned HIIT School before on the podcast. If you want to check them out, it's hitschool.com, and HIIT is spelled HIIT because it's high intensity interval training. I used to work out with HIIT School when I was at Google. So they partner with a lot of tech companies and provide workouts for employees like on campus. And so I worked out with HIIT School for maybe 3 years during my time at Google. Honestly, that was one of the things that I was really missing when I left Google was my old trainer. Shout out to Pete. And when we went into lockdown, HIIT School was like, guess what? We're going virtual. Like it's going to be over Google Hangouts. We'll be able to see you, you can see us, and we're going to provide you with these virtual workouts. And at the time it was kind of like, we don't know how long this is going to be. It's ended up being a year. Who knows how much longer we're going to be in this? But I was like, well, this is great. I can work out with my old trainer again. Omid can join me. Obviously, we're doing it from home. And having that structure of like, okay, Mondays and Wednesdays, we have our HIIT classes. On Fridays, we do their tempo class. Like just knowing that like, this is what I'm doing at 5:30 on a Monday, and getting that exercise in has been so clutch during this pandemic. I mean, exercise has always been huge for me in terms of just managing stress and my mood. Like I get super fucking grumpy if I don't work out. I notice it. If I go like 3 days and I haven't gotten a workout in, I will kind of forget, but I'll just be like, God, why am I so grumpy? Like I just feel like a raging bitch. And then I'll realize, oh, I haven't worked out in 3 days. Okay, let me go run. Let me go do something. Let me move my body. And it always helps. Like endorphins are real. And during this pandemic, I mean, we need all the help we can get with some extra endorphins. And if you want to know more about HIIT School, they are running at least throughout this year. So you can definitely sign up. It's built out into, I think it's like 10-week sessions, but it's awesome. And I will put in a little ad spot for them here so you can learn more about it and take advantage of a discount and referral. Number 5 has been my morning routine. So I have a whole episode that is all about my morning routine, start to finish, what I do, recommendations for it, what I love about it. It is episode number 9. And so I won't go into all those details here. You can listen to that episode if you're interested. But I will say that I started having a morning routine when I started working for myself. I did not have one when I worked at Google. I would just roll out of bed, get ready, and run out the door. But having a morning routine is freaking lovely, you guys. It is so nice. If you don't have a morning routine, get you one. It is the best. It's just such a great way to start your day and kick off how the rest of your day flows and your intentions. And it's lovely and it just feels wonderful. So just little things that you can do for yourself. Like I said, I have all my details in episode 9, but I personally love the just like making myself coffee, journaling, the types of like the way that I write out to-dos and block off time for my day, my gratitude list. All of those things are part of my morning routine, and it's just a really nice way to start the day. Number 6, we have a group of friends that we have been doing weekly Friday night FaceTimes with. So it's pretty crazy to think. I think we've only missed like 1 or 2 because we had something else going on. Like maybe my family was visiting, like we had quarantined so that we could get together. And so we skipped the FaceTime call with friends that Friday. But we've been doing this for almost a year. So we've done almost like 50 FaceTime calls. It's so crazy. But this is a group of friends that we are just really, really close with. The two guys were Omid's best men at our wedding. So they've been best friends from middle school and high school. And then their wives, like the six of us really, but we've all become really close over the years. And so every Friday night, we know that we are hopping on a FaceTime with them. Like some people might still be cooking dinner or eating dinner. We definitely all have drinks in hand. We're definitely all drinking and cheersing each other. And we just talk about all the things. Like it could be light and fun and funny, and we could be laughing our asses off, or it could be about current events, politics, COVID. We have done like virtual game nights. Like every night's different, but it's something that we all look forward to. And we've all kind of joked, but like are serious when we say that like this is the highlight of our week. So again, having something to look forward to in quarantine on a weekly basis is huge. It's like, we gotta take the little wins where we can. So shout out to Shauna and Bobak and Jeff and Lindsay. You guys have helped keep us sane for sure during this pandemic. Okay, number 7 is reading, but specifically reading fiction. I think before this past year, I would really kind of gravitate towards books that are focused on personal growth, personal development, as well as business-related books. And it can almost kind of feel like a waste of time for me if I'm like going to be reading. Like I feel like I need to be reading about books and things that are going to help me grow myself and my business. And that is 100% my type 3 Enneagram coming out of like, how am I going to set these goals and reach them and like better myself and grow? And like this past year and before the pandemic a little bit, I was starting to read more fiction books just like for pleasure. And I was like, oh, I forgot how nice this is. Like, this is lovely. So I have been really focused on adding books to my Kindle and to my queue that are fiction. So if you have any great fiction book recommendations, definitely let me know. One that I read last year that I just loved was Where the Crawdads Sing. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so beautifully written. Parts of it were really heartbreaking, but it was a really beautifully written book. So definitely recommend that one. I'm trying to think what some of my other top ones were from last year. If I think of others that I really, really love, I will include them in the show notes for you. But yeah, definitely let me know if you have any other recommendations. Right now I'm reading, I think it's called Pretty Girls. It's kind of like a thriller, and it's definitely not relaxing, but keeps me on the edge of my seat. So far I like it. I'll let you know how that one goes. But it's just, we can't travel right now, so it's a good way to escape. Number 8 is Equilibria CBD. You guys have heard me talk about Equilibria before. I have been partnering with them on the blog, and I'm obsessed with them. I cannot believe that I hadn't really been taking CBD correctly before, and I wasn't realizing the full benefits of it before. And so, especially during this pandemic and quarantine, I have been on my CBD game. I've got a routine down. I know exactly what works for me. I do a half dropper in the morning and a half dropper in the afternoon of one of their CBD oils. They have all these different great flavors. And then in the evening, I do a soft gel. And I love the soft gels. They are slow release over 8 hours. And so it just helps me sleep so soundly throughout the night. I don't like wake up and toss and turn like I used to. And I wake up feeling so well rested, which is huge for me because I'm not a morning person. And so it's easier for me to wake up earlier than before, which is amazing. And then the drops are really great for just like leveling me out throughout the day. Like, when your mind starts to race, or you kind of like feel like you're in this tailspin of like, how am I going to do this? Or I have so much on my plate. I have really been enjoying my CBD drops. And so if you're going to check out Equilibria, you can use my discount code. It's WTFAB, and new customers will get 15% off. The other thing that's really great about them is that you get a free phone call with a dosage specialist, so you can figure out your exact routine and what works for you. And they just like provide this level of care and kind of customization with these phone calls. That's really awesome. So definitely check them out. I feel like literally everyone could benefit from CBD, especially during quarantine. Number 9 is our new Sunday routine that we are calling No Cell Sundays. So in episode number 11, I gave you guys a digital detox challenge. If you haven't tried it yet, definitely check it out. It's basically all these different things to do for a digital detox. And one of them is what we have been doing every week, No Cell Sundays. So on Sundays, we put our phones away, we lock them up in a drawer, and we don't touch them all day. It sounds hard, and sometimes it is, but mostly it's just freeing. Like, it feels great, and it helps me feel so much more refreshed for Monday and for like the work week. And it made me realize how much I'm reaching for my phone, like how stimulated I am by all of these notifications and pings. And it's just been like so wonderful. So we're obsessed with it. We love doing it. And I highly recommend giving it a try, especially during quarantine while we're just so attached to our screens, because what else is there to do? I feel like it's more important than ever to give yourself that intentional break. So give it a try and listen to episode number 11 if you haven't yet, all about how to do a digital detox. Last one is meal planning. I have never done meal planning before, but I think I was just kind of feeling like in a rut. Like we're home so much. We are cooking for ourselves, which is great. We normally do, but I feel like we usually have, some breaks from that during the week. We usually have events that we're going to, or going out to dinner with ourselves or with our friends. Like, we just don't have that anymore right now. And so the whole cooking at home every single night, occasionally we do order in, but cooking at home for most nights, it was just getting, I don't know, it was feeling like a major chore. And we would look at each other around like 6 p.m. and be like, well, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? Like, I don't know. Like, what do we have? I don't know. And so it was just feeling very uninspired. So a couple months ago during quarantine, I decided on Sundays I would sit down and plan out not every single meal, but just our dinners for the entire week. And I would order our groceries online so that they would be delivered and ready to go for the week. And it has helped a lot, I've got to say. Like, there's no more, what are we going to do for dinner? We know exactly what we're having. We know who's cooking it. Omi and I take turns. And I cook a little bit more during the week, just because he's really cute and he's like such a gourmet chef, and he'll find these really intricate and like detail oriented recipes that take a lot of require a lot of effort. And he'll be like, I'm going to make this, ramen dish or, whatever on Saturday. So he'll spend like hours making this amazing meal for us. And it's, again, like another special treat, something fun for us to look forward to. But it does take a lot of time and effort versus I'm like, cool, I'm going to grab this marinated chicken from Trader Joe's and like whip up some broccoli and sweet potato gnocchi. And like, that's dinner for tonight. It's going to take me 15 minutes. So I also will look for other new recipes to try just to, add some variety. Variety is the spice of life. So I'm always looking for new healthy recipes to try and adding those to my meal planning for the week. It's just been like a really nice way to feel like, okay, we're set for the week. We have the groceries we need. We know what we're having for dinner, and we don't have to worry about it. Okay, well, those are the 10 things, the 10 habits and rituals that are bringing me some joy and keeping me sane during this pandemic. Let me know if there's anything else that you've been doing that has been helping you. I'd love to hear it. I am always on the lookout for new things we can do and try to just add a little bit more joy to the current situation, because like I said, we are over it, but we got to hang in there. We're so close. Like, people are getting vaccinated, which is so great to see. And it's giving me so much hope to see it starting to be rolled out to normal people, albeit older, but hopefully our time will come very soon. But yeah, if you have been enjoying these episodes, go ahead and take a screenshot, share it on your stories, tag me at WTFab so I can reshare it, and let me know what you thought or what else you're doing to keep yourself sane during quarantine. Also, be sure to rate and review if you have not already. It's like a little love note to me, and I appreciate it, and it helps me grow the podcast. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another interview that I can't wait to share. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss it, and we will chat soon.